Hey there YouTube, this is Florin123 and this is actually the first video I'm making concerning Islam and the events that will shatter our future days. This video targets one class of people and one individual. The class of people is obviously, the first class of people is obviously Muslims. You have been living in a delusion. You are believing in a false God and in a false prophet. They have no power to save you, not protect you, and you have to come to terms with that. Leave Islam before it's too late. The second category is the remaining 80% of humanity. For you, I have to say is, wake up. You're being lied to. Islam is not peaceful, it's intolerant, and it's murderous. Wake up and fight against it, or you will die. You will die at the hands of the evil you have allowed to grow in your midst. Now, the third category that this video is addressed to is actually an individual, Ahmad's Quran 3. I'll just say for now that you have been an invaluable help to me in my understanding and in my quest to fight against Islam. And I hope that this video will be sufficient that you may use it in your own quest. We may not agree on everything, but we do agree on the basics. Now, you may be asking, what exactly will this video be about? Well, for those of you who know the Bible and the Quran, well, I'm not suggesting that you should start getting to know it, but for those of you who have a general outline of it. The Quran speaks in two surahs of two, people or alien beings, it's kind of hard to define, that are called Gog and Magog. Allah mentions them twice, one in Surah 18, another one, and one more time in Surah 21. Now, strangely enough, these names also appear in the Bible, and the source is obvious. Muhammad was illiterate and Allah was a stone, so it's obvious where this material came from. It came from Jewish rabbis. They told him what real prophets like Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and the future fisherman named John said about the future events that will shatter our existence. Central to their prediction was that an individual called Gog, leading a coalition named Magog, will attack Israel and plunge the world into chaos and war. Now, first things first, I want to talk about Magog and what exactly and how far this coalition will stretch. Well, Ezekiel states that it will include today's Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Libya, Egypt, Sudan, Syria, Lebanon, and also the former Russian states, also known as the Stans, which are in Central Asia today. Now, this individual is called Gog. He will lead these nations into battle. Now, Gog is also referred in the Islamic literature as the Mahdi. This person is seen as the embodiment of the Islamic Messiah. He is said to come to earth to set up a peace treaty with Israel. I'll get to that in a minute because it's really important. He will usher in 7 years of peace. Yeah, right. Peace from Islam. Forget about it. And he will eventually, quote, break the cross, that means us Christians, kill the swine, that's Jews who are listening, and have so much money, taxes will no longer be accepted. Well, I agree with not paying taxes, but not with the other three, so tough luck. Now, who is this Gog anyways? Gog appears only in Ezekiel 48 and later in chapter 39 of the same book. We know that he will be of Islamic faith, and we know that he will die in his own land. He will lead the Islamic nations into war against Israel to finish off what Muhammad ordered, the extermination of every Jew on the planet. This coming conflict is not like Badr, a skirmish between merchants and pirates. It's World War III. And you better think about that, because according to the book of Revelation, a third of the earth's population will die. Ezekiel in chapter 39 verse 2 goes further into detail and says that 5 out of every 6 Muslims, 1 billion souls, will perish in the coming fight, and they will take down with them 500 million God infidels. I'm telling you these numbers so that you can appreciate the cost humanity will have to pay for tolerating Islam and not wiping it out. So let's get right down to work, shall we? We start off in Isaiah chapter 21 verse 1. Here we read about the emergence of Islam and how Muhammad, the pirate of the desert, will eventually impose his power in Arabia. And I quote, Isaiah chapter 21 verse 1. As the wind sweeping to the southland, an invader comes from the desert, from the land of terror. A dire vision has been shown unto me, with the traitor betrays, the looter loots. I don't think it gets more clear than that, folks. That's Muhammad in a nutshell. You can either accept that or prove to me that the Bible is wrong, and I can guarantee you won't be able to do that. Now, going back even further in the book of Genesis, we read the following description about Ishmael, the one from whom Muhammad claimed direct descent, and I quote, "He will be a wild ass of a man. His hand will be raised against all his brothers, and all his brothers' hands will be raised against him, and he will live in hostility with all the world." Sounds like the most newspaper, doesn't it? Now, going back in Isaiah chapter 9, he says that Jerusalem will be rebuilt using dressed stone. This is exactly what has happened. Right now in Jerusalem, almost every building is covered in white limestone. The year 1948 was essential for the prophetic calendar. I strongly believe that the final countdown has begun on that year, and very little time remains. Probably 15 years at the very least. Now the really interesting part now, the chapter goes on to say that the Philistines, and you may not know who the Philistines were back then, but today they are the Palestinians. The word Palestinian means Philistine. It was the name given by the Romans after 70 AD to the conglomerate of nations that settled in Israel after the Jews were dispersed. Isaiah says that they will devour Israel with open mouths from the west. Anybody who looks at a map will see